right, ready to dive into the Law of One, Book 4. I gotta say, Book 4, it really gets to the heart of things. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, the earlier books, they set the stage. But book four, it's where the rubber meets the road. It's like, how do we actually live this stuff?
Exactly. It's not just like philosophy in the clouds. It's a guidebook. And right off the bat, this idea of the choice grabbed me. Not just any choice, but like the defining choice we face.
Yeah, that's crucial. Really hammers home that third density. It boils down to this choice: service to others or service to self. And it's not about good or bad, right? It's deeper. It's about the core direction of your energy.
It's the compass heading for our whole journey, basically. But how do we even know which path we're on? Is there a way to, like, check our compass, so to speak?
That's the inner work, isn't it? It's about looking at your motivations. Why do you do what you do? Is it coming from wanting to help, to live others up? Or is it more about, your own needs and desires? Of course, it's not always black and white, but if you pay attention, the patterns emerge.
It's like holding up a mirror to your soul. And then to make things even trickier, there's the veil. Ra talks about this a lot. What's the deal with this veil?
Imagine it like like a cosmic blindfold. It's this thing that obscures our true nature, hides that we're all connected, and it's there to make third density more intense. Force us to really use our free will, learn through all the choices.
Okay, that makes sense. But why make it harder? Wouldn't we evolve faster without all the confusion?
That's the paradox, right? See, the veil isn't about punishment. It's actually there to speed things up. Think about it. When you're playing a game, the harder it is, the more you learn, right? The veil pushes us to learn faster, to refine our understanding of love and wisdom.
It's like leveling up our souls, I guess, but man, it can get confusing. And to help us with all this, Ra talks about the archetypical mind. What is that exactly?
Think of it like a blueprint for the soul's journey. It's a map of consciousness showing us the universal patterns that guide our evolution. And Ra breaks it down into 22 archetypes. Each one represents a different facet of consciousness.
22 archetypes. Whoa. Are any of those particularly key for like understanding this whole choice thing and how the veil works?
Definitely. The magician, the high priestess, the lovers, and the chariot, those are big ones.
Wait, those names sound familiar. They're like for the Tito. Is that its incidents?
Good cat. Ra actually suggests the tarot, the real deal tarot, not the fortune telling stuff. It can be a powerful tool for understanding these archetypes. It's like a symbolic language for the archetypical mind.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So we could actually use the tarot as a guide to these universal patterns. I like that. Let's dive into those archetypes you mentioned. Starting with the magician. What's its role in our spiritual evolution?
The magician, that's our conscious mind in action. Think of it like willpower, manifestation, shaping your reality. It's the part of us that makes choices, takes charge, directs energy.
So like the magician's the one holding the wand, deciding what to do with their power, right? But is that power always aligned with service to others? Could it be used for, not so good things too?
That's the thing about power, right? It's neutral. Think about electricity. It can power a hospital or a weapon. Same energy, different intention. The magician's energy can go either way. It's all about where you direct it.
That makes sense. So where does the high priestess fit in? What does she represent?
The high priestess, she's all about the subconscious, that deep well of wisdom we all have. Intuition, mystery, that connection to something bigger. She holds the keys. But it's up to us to find the door.
She sounds pretty powerful. But how do we tap into that? She seems kind of hidden, like behind a veil or something.
You got to go inward, quiet the mind, that constant chatter. Meditation helps, dream work, even exploring the tarot. That's how you start to hear her whispers.
It's like she's speaking from behind the veil, and we got to learn how to listen. And you mentioned the lovers as another key archetype. What's their role in all this?
The lovers, they're about transformation, that big crossroads where we choose which path, service to others or service to self. But it's bigger than romantic love. It's about how we engage with the whole world, where we direct our energy.
So the lovers are showing us the fork in the road. And the choice we make there, it shapes our whole journey, right? It's amazing how his archetypes really make these ideas come alive. What about the chariot? How does that fit in?
The chariot is all about self-mastery, bringing the light and dark together inside us. It's that focus, that determination to navigate the path.
It's interesting because the chariot imagery, like there's often these opposing forces pulling it, right? Is Raz saying we got to embrace both the light and the shadow to really master ourselves?
Exactly. True power, it's not about denying parts of ourselves, it's about integrating them. The chariot reminds us, light and shadow, they're both part of the whole. You learn to harness both, you become a much better driver.
This is making me rethink my whole approach, honestly. It's not about being perfect. It's about embracing the whole package, shadows and all. And it goes back to that initial choice, right? Which path we take. It shapes how these archetypal energies express themselves in us.
Powerful insight. And as we get further into book 4, you'll see how these archetypes play out everywhere. Our relationships, how we see disease, even the nature of dreams. It gets really fascinating.
I can't wait to dive into all that. It feels like we're just scratching the surface. This is one of those deep dives that really makes you question everything.
It is, that's the beauty of the Law of One, right? It shakes things up, makes you see yourself in the universe in a whole new way.
Well, listeners, we're just getting started. We've got the choice, the veil, these powerful archetypes, but there's a lot more to uncover.
Welcome back. Before we go too much further, there's this whole idea of the wanderer. We got to talk about that.
Oh yeah, the Wanderers. Love that concept. They're like these cosmic volunteers, right? Coming here to help us evolve.
Exactly. Ra describes them as, well, flows from higher densities. They choose to veil their memories, their abilities, and they come here to third density to help us move forward.
That makes sense, actually. Imagine, like, getting a glimpse of a higher reality and then forgetting it all, being thrown into this, crazy world.
Ra even tells a story about two wanderers from Venus. They came to Ra's planet during their third density experience, trying to bring wisdom to a culture they saw as too compassionate, too focused on love without wisdom.
Wow, that's fascinating. So even advanced civilizations need a little cosmic boost now and then.
Exactly, and it shows how complex this wanderer thing is, right? It's not about coming in and fixing everything. It's more like being a catalyst, helping others remember who they truly are.
More like a gentle nudge, not a superhero swooping in.
Right, and even though their memories are veiled, these wanderers, they often feel this pull, this urge to serve, to make a difference.
But how do they do that? I mean, they're starting from scratch here, basically. Must be super confusing.
It can be, for sure, but Ross says even with the veil, they can still tap into their intuition, make choices that align with their purpose, even if they don't consciously remember what that purpose is.
So it's all about trusting that inner voice, that gut feeling, even when it gets drowned out by all the noise of the world.
Exactly. And that's true for all of us, not just wanderers, right? We might not remember where we came from or what our mission is, but we all have that inner wisdom. We can all make choices that help us evolve.
That's actually really empowering. It means we're not just along for the ride. We have a say in how this whole thing unfolds.
That's a huge part of book 4, this idea of choice, of free will. Every decision matters. Ra's really clear about that. Even the small stuff, it all ripples out, affects the whole web of life.
So it's not just about our own personal growth. It's like we're all in this together, affecting each other, shaping the whole thing as we go.
Exactly. And that brings us back to service to others versus service to self. Every choice we make, it aligns us with one or the other.
It's like we're constantly casting votes with our energy, deciding which way humanity goes.
I like that. And there's no judgment, right? Both paths exist. But Ra's clear that the service to others path, it leads to harmony, to unity, to expanding consciousness.
It's the path of love, of compassion, realizing we're all connected and acting accordingly. That makes sense to me. But all this, it's great in theory. How do we actually live it? Like, what are some concrete things we can do to apply all this to our everyday lives?
Ra gives a bunch of suggestions. Cultivating a daily practice of reflection, using tools like the tarot, balancing exercises, paying attention to synchronicities, all sorts of stuff.
Okay, break that down for me. What's spiritual reflection actually look like?
It's about creating space for stillness, getting quiet, going inward. Meditation, journaling, those are good starting points. Helps you connect with that inner voice, get clarity on your path.
So less noise, more inner wisdom. Got it.
Exactly, and the more you do it, the more aware you become. Of yourself, of your connection to everything.
It's like building a bridge between your conscious mind and that deep subconscious stuff, right?
Beautiful way to put it. And speaking of bridges, you mentioned the tarot earlier. That can be a really powerful tool.
Yeah, you said it's like a language for understanding the archetypes, not for fortune telling, but for actually like looking inward.
Right. Each card in the major arcana, it represents an archetype. Meditate on those images, those symbols, and you can start to connect with those energies within you.
So it's more like a mirror than a crystal ball.
Exactly. And as you work with the tarot, you'll probably find certain cards really speaks to you. Maybe they reflect your struggles or your strengths, even the energies you're working with right now in your life. It's pretty cool.
I like that. It's like getting a personalized roadmap. What about those balancing exercises you mentioned? What are those, and how do they fit in?
Rana talks about our energy centers, chakras, they're often called. And they can get blocked out of balance. Happens a lot in third density. Can manifest in all sorts of ways. Physical, emotional, even spiritual stuff.
So if our chakras are like our energy system, these blockages are like what? Blown fuses? Short circuits.
Perfect analogy. And just like an electrician can fix those, we can learn to clear our own energy blockages, get things flowing smoothly again. Lots of ways to do that. Breathwork, visualization, sound healing, even yoga.
So many options. The key is finding what works for you and sticking with it.
Exactly. And the benefits can be huge. More energy, feeling better emotionally, stronger connection to, well, everything.
Like tuning our instrument so we can play our part in the cosmic orchestra.
I love that. And as you harmonize your energy, you become more sensitive to the subtle stuff too, like synchronicities. Remember those?
Oh yeah, the meaningful coincidences. Tell me more about those.
So synchronicities, those are the things that happen and are just like, whoa, what are the chances? Meaningful connections, patterns that keep popping up, events that seem too perfect to be random.
Like when you think of someone and they call you that same minute, or seeing the same numbers everywhere.
Yep. Ross says those aren't just accidents. It's our higher selves or maybe spiritual guides trying to get our attention, give us guidance, confirmation, that kind of thing.
Like the universe is winking at us, trying to tell us something.
Exactly. And the more you pay attention, the more you start to see those winks, you realize how connected everything is and how the universe communicates. It's pretty amazing.
It's like the veil starts to thin out, you get glimpses of the bigger picture.
Powerful image. And as we keep exploring the law of one, you might even see that veil, that thing that seems like an obstacle, it can actually become a doorway to deeper understanding, deeper connection.
This has been incredible. The choice, the archetypes, all these tools. I'm feeling inspired, but also kind of overwhelmed.
That's natural. The law of one, it's a lot to take in. But remember, every journey starts with a single step. And even small steps, if you keep taking them, they can lead to big changes.
That's good to hear. So what's the next step? Where do we go from here? Wow, this deep dive into the Law of One, Book 4, it's really been something. So much to unpack.
It has. As we're wrapping up, I'm curious, what's sticking with you? What's resonating the most?
There's so much here, but that idea of interconnectedness, it just keeps coming back to me. It's everywhere in Book 4, from the one infinite creator to how energy works, even those synchronicities we were talking
It's
about.
the core, isn't it? The law of one, it all comes back to that. We're not separate. We're part of this huge, amazing web of consciousness.
And when you really get that, it changes everything. You're not just looking out for yourself anymore. You see the bigger picture.
Exactly. The illusion of separation, the veil, it starts to fade. You start to see the unity that's always been there.
It's like the veil itself, the thing that makes things hard, it's actually what helps us understand how connected we are. We experience separation so we can appreciate unity even more.
That's a beautiful way to put it. The veil, it's not a punishment, it's a challenge, pushing us to grow, to seek that connection.
And the more aware we are of this web, the more we see how our choices matter. It's not just affecting us, it ripples out, to the whole thing.
Every thought, feeling, action, it all contributes. We're co-creators shaping reality with each choice.
So we're not just evolving ourselves, we're evolving the whole universe, in a way. That's a big responsibility.
It is. Book 4 really makes that clear. We're not just passengers. We're at the wheel, steering this thing.
And that means aligning ourselves with the good stuff, right? Love, wisdom, unity, service. That's got to be the compass.
Exactly. The more we embody those principles, the brighter our light shines, and the more we contribute to a better world.
It's like we each have a piece of the puzzle. And when we work together, share our unique gifts, that's when the real picture emerges. The beautiful one.
That's a wonderful way to see it. The potential is there within each of us to create something amazing.
This deep dive has been mind-blowing. The Law of One, Book 4, it gives you so much to think about. Interconnectedness, co-creation, the power of choice.
It's a gift, this material, so much wisdom to uncover. And it keeps unfolding the more you explore it.
So as we wrap things up here, take a moment to reflect. What's resonating with you? What can you take from this and actually use in your life to face the challenges, to live with more purpose, more awareness?
You're not alone on this path. We're all in this together, connected. Remember that. May you find peace. May you find guidance as you journey back to the one.